Emulate the taste of like non-chicken nuggets. So, these nuggets are made from chicken, but they're made to emulate the taste of non-chicken nuggets. Dope.
Oh, that's much better.
Edit all the blather out of your videos because my time is very precious.
Oh, that's fire.
Make it less teal and more
Cerulean? Sure.
Replace your background with something more fun? The cold void of outer space.
Let's boost that sound quality. Emulate the taste of non-chicken nuggets. Emulate the taste of non-chicken nuggets. Dope.
It needs more style. It needs more clips, more gifs, more. Well, I might have made it too gnarly.
Hello, hello. Hi, Kevin.
Hey, I'm realizing I had the stream unmuted on my other tab. I'm like, why do I hear you twice?
Oh no, not the echo.
Hi, Christiana. How you doing?
I'm doing great. What a relief that I'm not echoing on this wonderful Tuesday.
You're
Tuesday.
echoing through the interweb, through the live stream world.
Exactly. But all things are lovely on this Tuesday morning for me, afternoon for you, nighttime for some of our folks here. We've got a true international crew in the chat today. I'm looking at where everyone's tuning in from. New Zealand, Florida, Louisville, Spain, Kenya, Chicago. I'm loving it. This is great. I'm
Amazing.
so excited that everyone is here. Thank you for spending your time with us. We're doing a Descript 101 today. We're going to cover all of the basics of Descript, top to bottom. Kevin's going to be our awesome guide. And we'll be checking out the chat, making sure we're taking care of you along the way. Before we jump in, I actually put a poll in to start us off today where I asked, what type of content are you making with Descript? Are you a podcaster? Are you a video creator? Are you doing something different? Are you doing both? Let us know. Answer in the poll, but then tell us a little bit more in the chat. What are you working on? Kevin, anything you've been working on lately? Are you doing more audio or video in Descript lately?
I would love to know what the others vote are. One person voted other. I wonder what it is.
I was thinking maybe like transcripts, just doing transcripts, or just doing scripting or something like that. So yeah, but what about you? Audio or video lately? Which way you leaning?
A lot of both. A lot of both. We make a lot of media generally at Descript internally. So I have like an audio piece that I'm presenting tomorrow to the whole company. It's telling the story of a project we're working on.
Cool.
There's other stuff that I've been doing that's like more video centric. And
Cool.
I was just telling Christiana before we started, I've been experimenting. I have an iPhone. I've been experimenting with the continuity camera where you can wirelessly connect your phone to your computer as a webcam.
So cool.
And that's been wild. I've been like walking around my house making video, and it goes right into Descript because I can use that as an input in our recorder. So yeah.
Super cool. Love the experimentation. People are doing a lot of different stuff. Transcriptions, podcasts for a school district, overdub, both. So both audio and video. Sizzle reels for research. So cool. I love it. And Beth said, nothing. I don't know how to use it. You're in the right place. We're going to show you how to use Descript. So yeah, we've got you covered. Without further ado, let me cover some housekeeping and some agenda stuff, and then we'll kick off. So this is what we're going to cover today. We're going to give you a tour of the app. This says redesign, but it's probably the version that you know if you're new here. We'll show you around the drive, all of the different buttons and whatsits to make sure you are set up for success. We'll show you how to import and transcribe your media, whether that's audio or video. We'll show you how to record right in Descript. We have a handy dandy recorder, screen recorder, or just media recorder. We'll cover that. We've got something called scenes. It's really the core of how to edit video in Descript. We'll do a deep dive on that. Show you our stock media library. show you the different modes of Descript, edit, write, correct. Of course, editing, script editing, timeline editing, and Canvas, that visual part of Descript, the visual part of videos. Templates, which is the best way to repurpose stuff and make your life even easier as a creator. And then, of course, publishing and exporting. How do you actually get the awesome stuff you make out of Descript and sharing with the world? Most of you are watching in Crowdcast right now. Use the Ask a Question section for your questions. Marcelo, our amazing friend on the support team here, will answer all of your technical questions. And then use the chat for reactions, chatting, commentary, all of that good stuff. If we freeze, refresh your browser. That normally does the trick. Sometimes it doesn't. Good news is we're also streaming to YouTube right now. Hello to our friends on YouTube. We see you too. We see your comments. Feel free to throw those questions in there. But if you're struggling with Crowdcast, you can jump over to YouTube and we'll share that link in the chat. The $1 million question, is this session recorded? It absolutely is. We will be always recorded, like all things here. Yes, it is going to be on YouTube as soon as we're done here. So you could go watch right after this. But we're going to send it out in the follow-up email as well. And if you want more help or you need more help, check out the Help Center, help.descript.com. And of course, as the community manager, I would be remiss not to mention the Discord. We are about to hit 13,000 creators in our Discord community, which is amazing. Our team hangs out in there. Tons of creators are in there helping each other out. Highly recommend jumping in there. And then last but not least, if you are a new user or you're on the free plan right now, we would love to hook you up with Descript Pro for free for a month. We are demoing a lot of pro features today, as is how we always do it in our one-on-ones. So it would only be fair if we hook you up with trying that out for a while. So you can put in that code at checkout, or you can scan this code here and it'll jump you out over to there. Nice and simple, easy peasy. No rush grabbing that because we will break it up again at the end and it'll be in the follow-up email. So no sweat. If your phone's not handy or anything, we will be sure to not leave you hanging. Those are my sort of housekeeping updates. Kevin, before we jump in, anything I missed, anything else you think we should cover?
So much great stuff. Today's a starting point, I think, for a lot of people. It's a Descript 101. Yes. So as you saw by Christiana's slide, we're going to cover like everything Descript can do.
It's a lot.
We're not going to narrow into one specific workflow start to finish and talk about the what's and the whys and the hows. We'll get a lot of it, but This is an overview, a starting point, basically see what Descript can do, and then come to one of our other events that narrows it down to a specific workflow, how to use Descript for social video or narrative podcasting or diving into overdub, whatever it might be.
Totally.
Definitely check this out as a starting point.
Yes. Could not and that more. And something, speaking of which, and that means some folks might be a little bit more advanced here and might have like really advanced technical questions. We'll do our best to answer those. Marcelo is a great resource in the Ask a Question section. But if we don't answer those live or it's not covered, the Help Center is 100% your best friend. That is a great place to go for those more advanced questions as well. So
that's right.
Sweet. Alrighty. Well, I guess we can get started here, Kevin.
Let's do it.
Cool.
Let's jump right in. Just want to remind folks that this video and chat responses will be in English. So our bud Marcelo answering there. And if you're using subtitling on YouTube or watching the recording of this, this is in English. Yeah, great. Cool. Someone asked if I could show how I use my iPhone as an input. If we have time at the end, we can show that, but we're going to get into Descript.
Cool.
All right. So this is what Descript looks like when you open the app. Make sure you sign up, download the app, install the app, and open it on your computer. Not a web-based tool. You have to use the app on Windows or Mac. And this is our drive view. This is kind of our furthest look out. We have a bunch of shortcuts and organization here on the left side. But a great place to start is getting your app settings set up. So click the Descript D, click app settings, and you can go through and choose your default project type. It's easy to switch these back and forth, so don't worry, you're not married to one. English, or any of these 23 different languages as your default transcription language. And some other great settings here if you want to optimize your computer or not, all that kind of stuff. Last but not least, light and dark mode. Cool. Once you have that set up, you're going to be ready to start creating. Very, very quickly, if you have access to multiple drives or you've created multiple drives, maybe you work on a team or several teams, you're a freelancer, who knows, you'll see a drop down right here and you can manage those drives. We have shortcuts for recent projects and quick recordings. So if you used the built-in Descript recorder, projects that are shared with you, which can happen sometimes if you're collaborating with folks, they might right-click the project and choose project access and add you through email. Projects that are temporarily downloaded to your computer to improve playback and editing experience. Here's where you manage your overdub voices, our synthetic AI voice cloning tool. This is where you manage your templates. And then within each drive, you also have a private workspace, which is completely private to you, and a drive workspace. So if you have other members on your drive, this is where you can create projects and work collaboratively, which is awesome. As we go, you'll see this question mark pop up a bunch. This is our help center. Check out all these things, really helpful to get you unlocked as we're going. Christiana, did you have a question or a comment?
No question. Would it be possible, Kevin, for you to zoom in a little bit? It looks kind of far out.
Far out, man. Yeah, absolutely.
Sweet.
We'll zoom in on in.
Yeah, maybe one more,
Cool.
if possible, just for this, especially for this portion, so folks can see that. Cool. Sweet.
That good?
That's great. That's
Sweet.
Beautiful. Even my poor eyesight is now illuminated. So
Here you are.
Cool.
If anyone's looking to do that, you can go to View and increase or decrease text size.
Cool.
And resize if you want to.
Love it.
Yeah. Last, but before we get into creation, clicking your avatar or your initials in the top right-hand corner, go into settings, and you can manage your drives and your profile and all that kind of stuff. A lot of helpful things in there.
Awesome.
Okie doke. Let's get something into Descript. There are three main ways we get stuff. Technically four, but we're going to go with three for right now. Ways to get media into Descript. No matter what we do, we're going to create a new project. Click this blue button in the top right-hand corner, and we get an empty project, empty composition. It's our version of a doc. You're going to hear that phrase a lot as we go. And you can label this, and you can just drag and drop files in. So on my computer, I'm going to go into a folder that has some interview files from a video interview that we did recently. And if it's a single file, you can just drag and drop it in. Like so. You just drag and drop that file in. Put in your speaker's name. Make sure these are all correct. If your file has more than one speaker, you can detect that there, and it'll label it all out for you, which is really nice. And in this case, this was an audio project that I'm going to switch to video so we can see that video. That'll happen if you drop in video into an audio project, but you can always toggle that back and forth if you're one of those folks that said you make both. Just go up to File, Set Composition to Audio Only, or bump back, switch to video composition.
Cool. So Kevin, that means within the same project, you could have a composition that is the video version, of a project and just an audio version of a project. Is that right?
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Cool.
Once you start making other compositions and other edits, you click this drop down right here and you can create new blank compositions, or you can duplicate them and change one to audio, one to video, whatever your heart desires there.
Cool.
Yep.
Love it.
Yeah. So that's where your compositions will show up, and you can add new ones, blank ones. We said duplicate. You could do that as well. That's in this drop down. And then we have another drop down to start for now, which is our media library, which is this one here. These are all resizable. As you can see, I'm resizing these. This is going to show files, all the files that you've imported and transcribed or recorded, whatever it might be. We'll get there later, but this is also where you go to access our stock media libraries. Okay, something recent that happened I think is just very much worth noting as we work is these two menus are also dockable. So I can dock them to the side of my screen. I can click this button right here, dock to side, or I can just drag it and you'll see that blue tab pop up, and I can drop them in to the sidebar like that.
Love
which
it.
allows me to always have that stuff open. And everything's resizable. I can make the side rail resizable. Can make my video resizable. All this stuff is resizable.
Cool.
I'm gonna go down one text size if that's okay. Does that still look okay?
Yeah, that looks good to me. Folks, let us know if that works.
Sweet. I got to
Sweet.
a point where I couldn't resize a couple things because the text was so big. Okay, so
Sweet.
the magic of Descript.
Thank you for being with me this week in the challenge. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. And as a thank you, I'm going to give you a 25% discount off my Ecamm Live Academy. So what is the Ecamm Live Academy and why should you join it? So what is the Ecamm Live Academy and why should you join us for this live training event?
Okay, obviously there's a little redo right there. You can see that happen in the text, in the transcript right here. With Descript, you can edit that text. So in this case, I want to delete the first take of it. I can delete it in the script and it removes the underlying audio and video.
My Ecamm Live Academy. So what is the Ecamm Live Academy and why should you join us for this live training event?
Just like that. So everything that we do in the script, cut, copy, paste, delete, or even strike through, which is our ignore feature, which you highlight some text or a word and click ignore. All of those things will be applied to the underlying audio and video. So you can use your script to really format your piece so easily, your video, your audio. So if you're cutting sections and moving them around or deleting or ignoring sections of audio, it's going to skip over that stuff, remove it from your edit. Really, really awesome. The big difference with deleting and ignoring or striking through is I can see the edits that I've made and decide to bring them back if I want to. If I delete them, it's just gone and I have no idea what was there before. So there's choice in what you do there. I really love ignore personally.
Me too.
All right, cool. So let's bring something else in. We brought in a single video. I'm going to create a new composition up here. This is going to be an audio interview. So I'm bringing in two separate audio files of an interview. One side of the conversation, another side of the conversation. The big thing here is I'm bringing them in at the same time, and you'll see why that is. So, I'm actually going to bring three audio files in. So it's three people that are part of this kind of roundtable interview. And I drag and drop them in at exactly the same time. And what's going to happen, it's going to combine them into a multi-track sequence. So this is huge for anyone that's doing any kind of interview work, audio or video. Works the same way. You drag and drop those files in at the same time. You can add your speaker labels, just like we did before. So when Ashley is speaking, that'll be labeled out. When Ramdy is speaking, that will be labeled out. And then last but not least, Ryan. Boom, boom, boom. Great. Awesome. And again, these are audio files. So I'm going to go up to the Descript D, File, Set to Audio Only. And it's going to remove the video components real quick. All right. Looking pretty good.
I really want to talk about your favorite Halloween candies. Mine personally is Reese's peanut butter cups. Those are definitely my favorite.
So for this one, another quick editing feature. We obviously talked about what editing is in the script, but there's some great starting points as well after you've brought something in. We are going to cover recording, and we're going to mention another integration that we have with Squadcast and Riverside and some others, but the main ones are dragging and dropping in, recording straight in, but you're still ending up with this media in your script and your timeline. In this case, this is an unscripted conversation. So I'm going to do a couple things to clean this up. I'm going to go up to our magic menu here, which is a great starting point for anyone working in Descript. I'm going to shorten word gaps. And I'm going to say everything that is 1 second or more, I'm going to shorten it down to 1 second. So that's just going to remove any awkward pauses or long moments of silence. Apply to all. Great. And then the second one I'll do is I will remove filler words. The same magic menu up here. I'll choose the ones that I want or all of them. This is the list you get with Pro. I'm going to go with ums, us, you knows, like, and repeated words. Great. And here I can decide I can just delete them outright, or this is huge, use that ignore feature and it'll strike them out and skip over them during playback and editing. But I can see which ones we've removed and just bring them back super easily. Apply to all. These 14 words were just ignored. And now I have this.
Mine personally is Reese's peanut butter cups. Those are definitely my favorite. What about you guys?
So it really cleans up that sentence with those repeated words, fillers, all that kind of stuff.
But so yeah, popping like a fun size is just, I'll eat 20 of those. And
here's a great instance where I'm like, that's actually very helpful for the conversation. So I can select it, unignore, select this one, unignore.
Fun size is just like, I'll eat like 20 of those and then throw up.
Relatable.
That's our video producer at Descript, Ramdy, talking about eating too many Snickers.
Yes.
Cool. So that is our like step one in script editing: deleting, ignoring, removing filler words, shortening word gaps, that kind of stuff. Every edit that you make in Descript is temporary if you want it to be. You can always unignore things we've removed. If you've deleted something, you can always highlight around that edit point. You can see this little line in the script right there, and you can restore that media. You can also do the same thing in the timeline, which we're going to get into in a little bit. It's completely non-destructive. Everything you do in Descript can be adjusted, removed, brought back to the default or back to the original. So note that.
Cool. Yes. Sweet. Yeah, someone actually asked that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. It's non-destructible, right? Kimberly G? Right. That is correct. Cool.
All right. Last up, I'm going to record into Descript. This is like all of our starting points, right? We can import and transcribe, but recording, especially if we're using this new phone setup that I got, we can record straight in. So back up at our insert menu here. This is where we click record. You can record audio only, camera with audio inputs, screen with camera and audio inputs, any combination of any of these. So I'll show you audio for now. I'm just going to do my Shure mic that I have right here. I'll add a speaker label. You can have studio sound, which is our voice enhancement feature, which is very cool, very helpful. There's some birds chirping in the background right now. It's going to remove all that stuff for me. And I want to make sure I'm transcribing because I'm going to speak. And you just click record. Hello, I'm Kevin. So great to be here with you, Christiana, and great to have everybody at our live stream. Thanks for coming. It's going to transcribe quickly for me. Again, this is audio only, so maybe I'll switch this one back to audio only. Hello, I'm Kevin. So great to be here with you, Christiana, and great to have everybody at our live stream. Thanks for coming. I can make edits as I'm going, and it's really just set, good to go. Just like that. Same with video, same with your screen. Whatever you're working on, you can record straight in. We always mostly like to start with a good foundation. So more often than not, that's going to be recorded video that we've imported or recorded directly in, or audio, whatever it might be, or screen recording with audio, and using that to build on. What you also might want to do is create a new composition and start writing. You can go into write mode and just start writing script like this. It's a great way to like storyboard out your ideas, put in some narration ideas that you might record later on, or you might be using our overdub feature, where we're not going to get too deep into it today, but just know if you type in some text when you're in write mode up here, you type in some text, and if you change the speaker label to one of our stock voices or an overdub voice that you've created, you can have that read back in your voice or in the stock voice. Check out our help center if you want to make your own overdub voice. It's very, very cool and helpful.
Totally. And Kevin and I do events dedicated to just overdub, where we spend an hour talking about that. So yeah, we won't deep dive on it today, but check out our YouTube. I'll actually grab a link to an event and throw it in the chat.
Awesome.
You can check out a whole session dedicated to overdub.
Those are fun, for sure.
Yeah, I like them.
All right, I'm going to go back to this one here.
Sweet. Actually, Kevin, can I throw a question at you really quick?
Please.
From the chat. I think it's sort of fundamental. Could you go back to the one with Ramdi and Ashley and Ryan? Cool. Yeah. So someone asked, and there's been a few questions. I'm confused as to why there are 3 separate audio files for one conversation. Could you explain multi-file uploading and syncing just a little bit more so we all are on the same page?
Definitely. So, we could do a whole session on this, which maybe we should. Yeah. But if you're recording in a single space and you have one microphone, but there's more than one person speaking and you have conversation, you have different voices on a single file, right? It's one microphone that is recording to one file. With multi-track work, in this case, I dragged and dropped these 3 files in at the same time. It created that multi-track sequence, which I'll show you. This is Ashley recording at home, Ramdi recording at home, and Ryan recording at his home. 3 separate places, 3 separate microphones, and 3 separate files. We did use Squadcast to record, so each person has their own mic and their own file that's being recorded. We like that because if Ashley's telling a story and Ramdi's dog starts barking in the background, or someone rings the doorbell, or there's birds chirping, whatever it is, you can remove that really easily without affecting Ashley's audio. If we put them all on one track, one file, and they talked over each other, or there was background noise and one person, not the other, we wouldn't have the ability to remove that stuff. So what it looks like in Descript, it looks like one file, right? We have this one timeline and one script. It's nice and clean for us. But if you right click anywhere in the timeline or script and go to edit sequence, you can see the 3 separate files from this interview. So I go down here, I'm like, oh yeah, Ryan was typing a bunch, which he was, Ryan's typing a bunch while Ashley is speaking, I can go in and remove sections where Ryan is typing without affecting Ashley's file, without affecting her audio.
Cool.
That's big. Check out our interview podcast session to dig deeper and deeper into that concept, because if you're doing any kind of interview work, multi-track recording is a must, just to make your life easier and to give yourself more control while you're editing.
Totally. Sweet. All right. Back to you. You were jumping back over to the eCam file, I think.
Yeah, we can stay here also. There's a couple things that are just worth noting.
Sweet.
The first question that so many folks ask is like, well, how do I adjust pacing and timing and all that? In the script, we're removing or moving around audio and video that we're hearing and reading, all that kind of stuff. Obviously, we're getting our content set, but sometimes we want to change the pace of what's going on. That's when we go down here and we open up this timeline, and we can do a little bit of timeline maneuvering and precision editing.
I really want to talk about your favorite Halloween candies. Mine personally is Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Those are definitely my favorite. What about you guys?
So here I see that this happens just a little bit too quick. In the timeline, we can click and drag these words to the left to remove space, or go to the right to add space and give a beat. So if I move that 1 second to the right,
Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Those are definitely my favorite. What about you guys?
gives us a nice little pause right there. So all I'm doing is clicking and dragging these word tabs around, and I can kind of just see the distance between these shapes. They're called waveforms. This is like a visual representation of the audio that we're hearing. And I can just like drag these around, get my pacing looking good, look at the timing with this playback marker.
Definitely my favorite. What about you guys?
Probably Snickers.
And then I can also hover over any of these clips and adjust by clicking and dragging this way to remove some of that audio there or here as well. And the same thing goes if I want to go the other way. I can kind of peel back the layer of audio that was removed, and I can finesse my timing that way. Those are two really, really easy ways to have a ton of control over what you're hearing and seeing in your audio and video. And same thing happens at the beginning. If you want to make that a little bit shorter, just click and drag these edit points to move around. A great little pro tip here is try not to make any edits in the timeline while in the middle of a shape if you can. That'll create some kind of like cut short audio sound or video. What you want to do is move your edits so they happen during a flat point or a moment of silence. And that'll give you a much more clean, much more natural sounding edit. But sometimes it's tough.
Takes practice.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. Yeah, Kevin, you have been an audio engineer for a while. What do you recommend as like a great way for someone who's just getting started, maybe doesn't have the resources or isn't bringing in a professional audio engineer right off the bat? Do you have any tips for like just the craft side of getting started?
Mm-hmm. Make something with what you have. Don't buy a bunch of stuff and, go wild on 2-day delivery for an entire studio setup or something. Whatever you have available to you, maybe that's a phone or a computer or a boombox and a cassette tape that you can record onto, whatever it is, make something today or tomorrow and try to see what you can do with it. With mics, you can get so much out of a phone mic these days, whether it's an iPhone or an Android with just the voice memo and recording apps. Record on there, download it to your computer, throw it into Descript, and just start editing away. Get yourself in a nice quiet space so you have more options later on. If you're recording video, same thing. Just use your phone or your computer, whatever you have access to, and try to make something from start to finish. Like tell a story about your day or what you had for breakfast or what happened over the weekend, whatever it might be. But try to make something from start to finish, and take notes as you're going, and figure out what was difficult and where did you get stuck, so that when you go to our help center or YouTube or one of these events, you have questions that you're searching for or asking, and you can kind of go through and check off the things that helped you along.
Totally. That's great advice.
For sure.
Cool.
And get more advice from more people, because everyone gives different advice for new producers and new creators out there. So ask people questions. That everyone has different opinions and all that. So
totally. Yeah. Cool.
If you're looking to dig deeper into the timeline stuff, we're going to move on from the timeline for a moment. There's some timeline tools right here that you can check out on our help center that allow you to manipulate audio a little bit more. And we also have the ability to fade and crossfade by clicking and dragging these little white bubbles that will increase or decrease volume gradually. Really cool, helpful tool in the timeline. Oh, and playback speed. This button right here to get to playback speed. If you want to edit down a 2-hour meeting, increasing that playback speed temporarily will help you get through it quicker. So check that out.
Awesome.
Yeah. I'm going to go back to a video if that's cool.
Let's do it.
Rename this. So a big thing that people ask, if you're making a video and you're just going to add some captions, which we're going to do in a little bit, you got to make sure your transcript is correct. So one is setting up your transcription glossary from the beginning. Go to the Descript D, File, Transcription Glossary. Add some keywords, names, acronyms, proper nouns, whatever it might be. Descript will keep an eye and an ear out for these phrases and words so that I can hope to get it right next time. Go up to our magic menu, run this process to detect transcription errors. It will bring it through another round of transcription and tell you a few places it thinks it may have gotten it wrong, and you can make those corrections really easily. But also just have the power in your hands to do this, and it's super, super easy in Descript. One way to do it is by selecting a word or any text, clicking correct, or pressing C on your keyboard, and you can make that change. Press return or click correct. And now we've just changed the transcript. We haven't affected the audio or video at all. So now it's going to read correctly.
I'm going to give you a 25% discount off my Ecamm Live Academy.
Great. So now when we add captions, it'll be correct for what we want it to say. If you have a lot of changes you need to make, you could search. I could find text. See if there's any EAM. There's only one there. No, we do ecom. There's 3 there. Oh, I could say, yep, I want that all to read Ecamm at all. Now we have some of those changes like that. I might just need to make little corrections to some of these. I'm just selecting, correct, make the change, press return. Also go into full-on correct mode by doing Option or Alt-C on your keyboard, pressing Option or Alt-C on your keyboard. And it kind of turns it into a word processor for a moment. So you can go through and just make all these changes to your transcript as you're
Ecamm Live Academy, and why should you join it? So what is the Ecamm Live Academy and why should you join?
His is actually pretty good.
It's not just doing lives anymore. You don't, and actually you don't even.
And then you can click escape if you need to go in there and actually remove some stuff.
Need to be going live anymore to be getting the.
And keep going.
Actually, Ecamm isn't all about live stream.
Cool. And you can make your corrections again. So a really easy way to get accurate transcripts, accurate captions, all that kind of stuff. And transcription is really dependent on your mic, your speech, rate of speech, background noise, clarity, all that kind of stuff. So experiment there.
Cool. Sweet. Kevin, somebody asked about how come it did not correct the Ecamm Live Academy to Ecamm misspelling. And that's because we added that to our transcription glossary after we transcribed, right? It has to be in there
That's right.
first. Okay.
I'm adding it now. So now next time I transcribe this, hopefully it gets it better. Not always 100%. You know, it depends on your audio, like we said, but it's going to give you a good shot adding that in.
Cool. Yeah, and that's at the, you might have mentioned this, but that's at the project level. So like maybe your team is someone said they were making like a realtor podcast. So maybe you set up your projects or you set up your drive and you put in all those terms right off the beginning, and any of your team members that make a project will benefit from you having that jargon in the transcription glossary. So
yeah, across your whole drive, so everyone will have access to that.
Sweet. Cool.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
What's next?
That's a great question. It's a great question. We're gonna let's talk a little bit more about some quick collaboration stuff. A lot of collaborators out there, and we'll get into some more editing, improving, and then just get into scenes. I think we've done a lot. This in combination with our narrative or just interview podcast event that we have on our YouTube page. So much you can do with audio already. But there's some other things that are audio and video that are going to help us out a lot. So first, collaboration. Add some folks to your drive, like we showed at the beginning. Click Add Member, and you can collaborate that way. Or you can also add people to a single project by going to Project Access here, adding their email in. And whether they're here or on your drive, you can start to tag them in comments. So I can select some text, drop in a comment, use the @ sign, and leave some comments here. After I've done an edit, I can also send a version to someone who isn't using Descript by going to Publish and publishing this as a web link. It'll just open up in a browser, and it looks like a simple version of Descript, and they can drop in comments. It's really awesome. There's a lot of different settings here, but it's a really great way to send somebody something who may or may not be using the app just yet. Cool. And the last step in collaboration 2 is if you're clicking Project Access up here, you can also copy the link and change the access here. So if someone has access to your drive, they're a member of your drive, you copy this link and send them that link. They'll be able to open it up quickly without having to find it in the drive. All right. Back to editing. We didn't touch too much on the script editor toolbar. I just want to make sure we get to all this stuff. Overdub is what you'll use to overdub and replace text with our overdub feature. Again, check out that help center. But this is mainly if you've recorded something and you have an overdub voice set up for you. Let me go to my recording if I can find it. Hello, I'm Kevin. And if I have my overdub voice set up for that speaker label, this is going to be quick. Again, check out our how-to, but I'm assigning my overdub voice to that speaker label. I'll call it Kevin Host, so it's a little bit different. Anytime I make a correction using overdub, it's going to use my overdub voice to generate new audio to make that correction. So if I was doing something with harmony, I could make that change like that. Also have some great bold, italicize. We talk about strike through to ignore. You can also highlight sections and copy those highlights and paste them elsewhere. So if you're here making some good highlights, like, oh, this is going to be great for social, for YouTube. Oh, this section is going to be really great for Instagram. I'm going to use rows. What I can do is go up to that magic menu again, copy highlights, all of them or just one of them, create a new composition, and just paste them in. And it's going to bring along only those highlighted sections. So really awesome for pulling selects or pulling clips, all that kind of stuff. You can also clip different selections to an existing or new composition. So if I select some text in the script and click duplicate to right here, it's going to shoot this section to either a new composition or an existing one that I want. So I'll send this over here. I'll click open. Now I have that section right there in with my audio recording here, just like that. We talked about comment, and then there's a nice little junk drawer of a bunch of stuff here. If you're pasting special or duplicating to, you can do that again there. If you want to view this media file, all that kind of stuff right there.
Love the junk drawer analogy.
Yeah.
Cool.
Right, take a pause, yeah?
Yeah. There's actually a relevant question here. When you were talking about those highlights and moving to a new transcription, I think this, or a new composition, I think this makes sense to cover if we can really quick. Can you please show how to create a series of 1 minute, so short video clips from a longer video? Probably for social or for sharing out with your audience in some way. We have an entire, just last week, we did an entire hour dedicated to this. So, but maybe Kevin, you could show like the quick 62-minute version of like that process.
Definitely.
Cool.
So the first one we showed was highlighting. That's a great one. Highlight the sections that you want to clip out, go to the magic menu, copy those highlights. Awesome.
Cool.
A little bit quicker one is that duplicate to. Maybe you make a new composition, open it up. For Instagram, it's like that. Go up to our canvas right here. Change the aspect ratio and the orientation if you need to. So in this case, maybe I go to portrait and it'll change just this composition. And then I can get into the canvas here and rearrange this however I want. If I want to crop it into portrait, I can do that. There's a bunch of different options here in this menu.
Awesome. Love it.
So just like that, we have a really
Thank you for being with me.
nice looking clip for social. And then maybe you're adding some captions in like that. We're going to do some more captioning work in just a second, but
Cool.
just showing you how quick and easy it is in Descript.
Yes. I think repurposing long form content into short form content is my favorite Descript use case. So great question. Yeah, promoting stuff is so hard. And yeah, Descript really makes it easy. I just shared the link to that entire event from last week where Kevin and I dive deep on that whole process. So definitely go check that out if you're interested in that. Cool.
Love it.
Awesome. Okay. Couple more questions, Kevin. Do you think that makes sense?
Sure. Let's do them.
Cool. Okay. I thought this was an interesting, just like overall general Descript question. Say you add a pause of 1 second to a video. What happens?
Great question. 1 second gives us a blank frame.
And as a thank you.
Like so.
Okay.
Which you can decide what to do. Maybe it's you're going to drop in some B-roll or you actually want a blank frame. We're going to talk about scenes in a second, which would help you out with this.
Yep.
But just know, yeah, for video, it gives you blank.
Cool. Yeah. With scenes, just in a sec, we'll show you how to make Normally, I think probably folks do not want a random blank screen. So yeah, we'll show you in just a second how to fix that, clean that up. Okay, great. Let's see here. We might hit this in the future, Kevin. So feel free to say, let's punt that. But how do you lower audio volume at the tail end of a clip without changing the video?
Ooh, yeah. So let's say we have a separate clip right here. You just click it in the timeline and adjust the audio volume right here. Cool. You can see it's changing volume. Higher the shape, the louder it is. Lower the shape, the lower that volume is.
Cool. And I feel like we might hit on fade ins and fade outs in a little bit. Is that right? Yeah. So that's
we talk about that with like adding music or something.
Perfect. Cool. So more on that coming soon. And there's been some questions about adding some sweet background music. So we'll hit on that in a second here. Cool. Okay. Great. All right. There's some more questions in here that I think we are going to hit. Other than that, though, this question has come up. Interested to know if we can add translated captions. Right now, we do not support translation. So whatever language you are transcribing and editing in would be the connected caption that you see in the same language. So, but that's a cool feature request, and feature requests from our community is definitely something we take seriously and we check out. So head to feedback.descript.com and throw those in there. And yeah, our product team sees that, our leadership team sees that, we all do. So throw anything you'd like on there. Cool. All right. I think full steam ahead.
Cool. I'm going to do a couple things. We'll talk about changing visuals in the canvas real quick. Any visual that you've selected in our video canvas, you can change font, import a custom font, change the color, or add your hex RGB code. So many different options, size, alignment, all great. I also have this live caption setup going on, which you can see here. Live text captions, and I can change that active word background if I wanted to, or change the color of the active word so it pops a little more, whatever I want to do. It's pretty cool. And in the timeline, if you're ever wondering where all my clips are, if you click, if you've added, maybe I've added a shape or something. Let me add a few things. You can see all of the clips that you've added in the timeline here, or you can toggle this on to only show the clip that you have selected or the layer that you have selected. So just note that those are there as well. All right, I'm going to add some music. We're going to pull something in from our stock library up here. So I'm going to go up to the media library, go to audio, and pull in fresh, no whistling. I'm just going to click and drag it where I want it to go. I'm going to have it start at the very beginning, and that file will be added in just like that. I can move it around and adjust the timing if I need to or want to. I could create some space at the beginning by clicking and dragging that word tab, or adjusting the clip like we did before and get a nice intro.
Thank you for being with me this week in the challenge. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have.
And if I want that music to cut out maybe a few seconds after, I can adjust where the music stops and starts by clicking and dragging the beginning and end of the clip. And then I can add one of those fade ins or fade outs by clicking and dragging that white bubble.
Thank you for being with me this week in the challenge. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. And as a thank you, I'm going to give you a...
It gives us a nice little fade out. During this section, if you wanted to have some kind of logo or anything like that, you can drag and drop images or videos in, or you can pull from our media library. But in this case, I'm just going to bring in nice Descript logo, and I'm going to add that here with a little fade out. Now I'm doing all this without using scenes, which we're going to do in a second, which make this process 1,000 times easier. But just note, you can easily move around clips as you need in the timeline, just like that.
Thank you for being with me this week.
And go from there.
Love it.
So fades will also work with visuals as well as with audio. So it'll slowly fade that visual out to disappearing.
Love it. Cool.
Sweet, sweet. All right. Yeah.
Are you going to dive into the stock media library again? I think like background music is the tip of the iceberg. So I just want to make sure if there's a couple questions, maybe we could just cover it in its entirety.
Definitely.
Cool.
I'm going to create a new composition and start fresh with some new files. I actually have some video files from that interview I brought in earlier. Ashley, Ramdy, and Ryan. So I'm going to drag those in at the same time, 3 video files. Add my speaker labels for each one. We already used those, so they're there for me to choose from. It's going to combine those files to that multi-track sequence and transcribe for me. Working with multi-track interviews, video, also allow us to do this very cool thing back up naturally in our magic menu, where I can add a scene by active speaker. That's going to do 2 things. One, it's going to create a scene, which I'm going to explain in a second, every time the speaker label changes. And it's also going to make that speaker full screen. So it's like our auto multicam feature. So if I click add scenes by active speaker, every time Ashley's speaking, full screen. Every time Ramdy is speaking, full screen. And the same thing with Ryan. Just like that. Very cool. So scenes are our way of splitting up a video into different sections so that we can affect the layout and the visuals of that section without changing the rest of the video or the other scenes. So for instance, if we wanted Ramdy and Ashley to be on screen at the same time, we would use a scene to separate that section from the rest of the video and arrange them to both be on the canvas at the same time. It's also what we might use if we want to drop in some B-roll or some outside video footage that is going to overlay over the top of our interview here. And also if we wanted to change anything going on the canvas, but not affect the rest of the video. That's how we'll use a scene. So let me show you what that looks like in practice.
Yeah.
You just if something tries to kill you, you just like keep going.
Yeah. I enjoyed the meets, but
so here is Ramdy talking about swimming and swim meets when he was a kid. I'm going to correct this. Good. And I'm going to use this scene right here to show both of them. And I want it to last for both of these sections. I want to see Ramdy and Ashley for these 2 lines. So I'm going to remove this slash right here in the script. Because I added a scene, scenes are represented by slashes in the script. I added scenes by active speaker. I added one when it switched to Ramdy, but I want to keep one full scene from here to here. So I'm just going to remove that one. That may feel confusing for a second. It will become more clear in one moment. So I have this scene right here. It's scene number 5. It's just this section.
If something tries to kill you,
was-
you just like keep going. and see
It
if,
was, yeah.
yeah.
I enjoyed the meets, but practices were terrible.
What about you, Ryan?
All right, so I want to change the layout of just this 5th scene right here. So I'm just going to do that in the canvas. I'm going to resize Ashley. I'm going to click that scene and go to my layers list, and I'm going to bring back Ramdy because he was removed originally because we made scenes by active speaker and only had the active speaker full screen. So I'm going to go to our layers list right here, which shows all available video. And I'm going to show Ramdy, and I'll resize this. And maybe I'll crop these again because we did that. I want to get them looking a little bit better. And then I can arrange them how I want them to look side by side. Cool. So now we have this.
Time, and it sucked. But
Man,
yeah,
you just if something tries to kill you,
was-
you just like keep going. and see
it
if,
was, yeah.
yeah.
I enjoyed the meets, but practices were terrible.
So I used that scene to change the layout of just that section. If I started, let me go back 3 or 4 steps. If I started with just this interview with no scenes, I might go down that part. He says meet. Oh, I changed it to meet.
I enjoyed the meets, but practices.
Great.
I enjoyed.
So I go down here. If I want to do the exact same thing from scratch, I'll go in and I'll click add a scene. So that's going to create a start point of a new scene. I'll go to where I want it to end, where I want this layout change to end, and I'll click a scene right there. So now this section, number 2, is here, and I can go through and do the exact same thing, and it's not going to affect the rest of the video. It's only going to affect them right here. Can make this change however I want.
Man,
Yeah.
you just if something tries to kill you, you just like.
So just using that scene, it's not going to affect the rest of the video. So this opens up a ton of options and a ton of possibilities. If I'm going through an interview like this or any video that I'm creating, I'm basically asking myself, okay, do I want something to change visually? And if the answer is yes, I'm going to use scenes to make that happen. So let's go to the beginning real quick.
Yeah, I really wanted to talk about swimming because a lot of people learn to swim when they're very, very young. I know my parents took me to the YMCA.
Great. Awesome opportunity to drop in maybe some B-roll, some outside footage from our media library. What we can do the same way that I did before, is I can add a slash where I want that visual to start. I'm typing a slash on my keyboard or clicking slash to add a new scene. And I want this new visual or this visual change to end right here. I might do the same thing. Now I have scene number 2 is this section of script. This is the video layout. What I could also do, instead of adding those slashes one by one, is say, ooh, during this section of script right here, just select it. I want visuals to change. And what do I want to change? Ooh, I want to add some B-roll, someone swimming. So I'll keep that selected. And I'm going to go up to our media library. I'm going to do this a couple times, so don't worry if we don't get it the first time. Go to a video, search for swimming. Great. Find one that has a good length. That one's cool. This one's cool. And just click it, and it's going to drop it in, or you can also drag and drop it right onto that scene, that selection that you've already made. It's going to auto create those slashes for you, auto create the scene, and fit this video into that scene.
Yeah, I really wanted to talk about swimming because a lot of people learn to swim when they're very, very young. I know my parents took me to the YMCA and had me do those baby swimming classes. I don't remember them, but
And then once it leaves that scene, it goes back to our default layout like we have here. And by selecting the scene, you can always just change the layout. So if I want to get rid of Ramdy and Ryan, I can do that. Full screen Ashley. And because I had that scene selected, it's only doing it to that first scene.
Yeah, I really wanted,
and not affecting our swimming one, and also not affecting the scene after. So really awesome way to section up your video, change visuals, change layout, and not affect the rest of the video. Okay, that's a lot about scenes. I want to pause right there, Christiana, and make sure we maybe answer some scene questions.
Totally. Let me take a look. Somebody asked, can we have one scene on top of the other? Can you sort of explain how with scenes you probably wouldn't have to do that, right? Because what you want to achieve is possible with, like, maybe they mean extending scenes, or could you just talk a little bit about like more of like what is possible in terms of extending a scene and stuff like that?
Yeah. What I think maybe they're talking about is overlapping visuals, perhaps. And you do that within a scene. So you can only have one scene at one time.
Right.
A scene is that section of the video. So if I select scene number 2, which has this swimmer, if I move this video around underneath, we still have those videos here.
Right.
And if I delete them, for instance, I can still select that scene and show them. They're always going to be there. It's non-destructive, like we've talked about. So we can always bring that stuff back. But if I could create a scene and have overlapping visuals if I wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
And also change the order. So I can right click any layer in a scene and change its order. So think of it like a stack of papers. If I have one that's at the bottom, I can bring that to the top or anywhere else and change their order like it was on, like a sheet. So I can move this to the front. So Ashley is now overlapping. I could delete these if I wanted to. The sky is truly the limit. I'm in the scene, so I can click the scene again and also change the background if I wanted to. Have this background look a little bit different.
Nice. That was a question.
Oh, nice. There's so many great, easy options that allow us to take a pretty simple looking video that looks like this and with like 3 steps.
I really wanted to talk about swimming because a lot of people learn to swim when they're very, very young.
And if you want to transition between scenes, you just click the scene, add a transition, just like PowerPoint or Google Slides, and transition out and add whatever kind of transition you want to do. Do like a little cross zoom. Let's play from the beginning.
I really wanted to talk about swimming because a lot of people learn to swim when they're very, very young. I know.
Easy as that.
Love it. That was going to be the next question I was going to bring up. Can you add transitions between scenes? You're reading my mind, Kevin.
This is wild. I'm not looking at the comments or the chat. I'm just going.
Wow. Your intuition is out of control today.
It's on.
Love
it's all this water I'm drinking. Stay hydrated.
Same. If you ever watch my video, you will see my hydro flask like randomly cross. Not sponsored by Hydro Flask.
Not yet. If anyone works at Hydro Flask, hit us up.
Let us know.
Yeah.
Amazing. Cool. You covered some great scene questions there. I wonder if it would be worth going back to the background changing really quick.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we could even show off AI green screen really quick if that's possible, or like uploading a background and putting that behind you or something like that.
Ooh, love it. Let's do that.
Cool.
Okay, I'm going to green screen Ashley's clip right here. So I'm going to
Cool.
click her layer, effect, green screen.
Okay.
That's going to remove her background. It's like AI background removal. Might take a moment, but we're going to do it.
Cool.
And I can decide like where Ashley goes based on those layers. So if I wanted, maybe this swimming video is going to be centered, but I want to have Ashley's video small and kind of down to the side like this. It's going to remove the background behind her and just have her video there. Super sweet. As you're going, you also might be like, actually, I don't want that color behind there at all. I'm just going to use this video. And that's my background for Ashley.
Right.
Or I don't like this video at all and I want to replace it with something else. You click the video, go to replace, and choose media. And then you can go through and find the right piece of media that you want.
Love it.
Oh, there we go. A pig swimming with rubber duckies. Like that's obviously
so sweet.
Obviously the one.
Cool. Cool. And it looks like it loaded, the AI green screen loaded. So
beautiful. I'm going to loop this pig video behind her so it lasts for the whole scene. So I'm going to click loop, I'm going to click the layer first and then go to this drop down and loop. And it's just going to repeat this GIF.
Swimming, because
so let me go back here.
I really wanted to talk about swimming because a lot of people learn to swim when they're very, very young. I know my parents took me to the YMCA and had me do those baby swimming classes. I don't remember them, but I know.
Oh, very different vibe.
Yes. Yes. We don't necessarily recommend jumping between all of these different visuals for your.
We're going to talk about craft real quick. Let's talk about.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh my gosh.
Sweet, but that was a great example of like just how customized you can get with the visuals here in the canvas. It's
That's
awesome.
Right. That's right. And cool. I love that trick of taking a section and just selecting it, saying, "Oh yeah, I want some B-roll right there, or I want an image or like a logo from my computer, whatever it might be, from anywhere, and just dragging and dropping it onto that section. It automatically creates the scene for you. It's so quick, and it allows you to really line up where you want something to start and where you want something to end.
Awesome.
Cool.
Sweet. All right. We've got about 15 minutes left in today's session. What are we going to round it out with? What's next, Kevin?
Well, let's talk about templates real quick.
Great call.
I'm going to go back to our clip for Instagram. I'm going to add.
Thank you for being with me this week in the challenge. I hope you've enjoyed.
So for now, I'm going to remove this video, this audio, this music. Templates are visuals only, mainly right now. You can add audio to them and it'll add it to the beginning. But templates are a really great way to save and repurpose visuals and visual layouts. So things that are really great are repurposing logos that might show up somewhere. Caption styles, really big. Get these looking a little bit better. And the orientation of your video. So if I go here and I right click this scene and I save it as a template, I can go through the whole process of saving and publishing this as a template, number one. And after I do that, it's going to show up in our templates gallery up here under my templates. So I have a bunch of different templates that I've made that I've used for a ton of different stuff. And it's really simple and easy just to add them there. So if I started with this video and it was go back to the original real quick. Just Adrian's video. I'm like, ooh, I want to add that template. I can go up to the template, find it, drop it in, match the orientation.
Thank you for being with me this week in the challenge.
And I have these reusable assets that I've created at a different time. Check out our help center about to learn more about templates and going through the process of creating them, publishing them, saving them, all of that kind of stuff. We also have some starting points in the templates gallery at the bottom, which are different titles for presentations or caption styles. There's tons of stuff here. A great place to start for you and your project if you don't really know. So you can take one of our templates, make it your own, and then right-click that scene and save it as a template.
Love it. Love templates. Not to be a broken record, but Kevin and I have done a templates event. Basically everything in a 101 event, you can probably find an hour-long event.
So true.
Dedicated to that section. So definitely check out the live events playlist on YouTube to get
true.
more.
Cool.
Jinx again. That's like the second time.
I know. We are really on it today.
We are. Something good is in the air. Sweet. Okay. What's next?
I'd love to talk about publishing and exporting, and then we just answer a bunch of questions at the end, if that sounds good.
That's perfect. Let's do it.
Maybe show off that phone input.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let me bring this stuff back. Command Z or Control Z is undo. Shift Command or Shift Control Z is redo. Those two keyboard shortcuts should be in everybody's toolkit. If you do something you didn't intend, Command or Control Z to undo it however many times. That is so huge in any app or any tool that you use, but especially in video and audio creation. All right. You want to get things out into the world, or you want to send it to a collaborator or whatever it might be. If they're a Descript user, just go up to Project Access, copy that link, and they'll be able to open up that project with you. You can work on the same project at the same time, which is very cool. But if they don't use Descript, we talked about that web link earlier. Really awesome way to create a web version of Descript. Very simple, just script, video, playback. They can drop in comments, see the transcript. It's very, very cool. I use it every day. You can also publish your media straight to any of our publishing partners, whether it's audio or video dependent, but you can go straight to YouTube or Buzzsprout, whatever your distribution platform is. We also have this export window, which is if you want to get a file out of Descript. So if it's a video file, tons of settings for all of these, but video file, audio file, you can create a little looped GIF, movement GIF, timeline export, which is really, really rad. A way to get all of your raw media and the edits that you've made out into one of these pro tools, pro pieces of software here. So Pro Tools are Logic, Audition, Reaper, Final Cut, Premiere. It's basically if you started your project in one of those tools and you're picking up where you left off. The reason, this is how I use Descript a lot. The reason is I really love doing all of my scoring and sound design stuff in Pro Tools, but using Descript to edit my interviews or recordings saves me hours of time than if I was to do it only in Pro Tools. So a lot of times I'll do that. So if you're someone who uses one of these tools already, or you have a collaborator that you're working with that uses one of these, do the first 75% of your work in Descript, all of your editing and moving stuff around, getting it really good. And then you can send it off to your collaborator or yourself in one of these programs and pick up where you left off. Very, very cool. Last two, exporting the transcript, basically a text doc. different formats, and then subtitles, SRT or VTT, which are a must-have for YouTube these days, or any video platform, I'd say. Okay, that's exporting and publishing.
Love it. Cool, cool, cool. Okay, question palooza, I guess, is next. Rapid fire.
Can't wait.
Love it. Okay, so this sort of question has come up a few times. Is there a marketplace to find video editors that have mastered Descript, or do you have experts we could outsource to do some of our editing for us? We do not have anything formal right now on our website or in the app, but we have a for hire channel in the Discord community where a lot of really amazing Descript editors hang out and offer up services, can consult, can give you training sessions. So definitely scan that code, join our Discord, and ask, and you shall receive for sure. So want to hit on that really quick. Okay. And then Kevin, this is a perfect question for you as someone who has used lots of audio tools and video editing tools. There's been a few questions about how Descript compares to something like Adobe or Pro Tools. And so what would you say is like sort of the key value add for Descript, and when does it make sense to go export out to one of those more classic tools?
I'll answer that first. Only if you need to. So if you're working with a collaborator or a freelancer or mixer, or someone who's doing video editing post-production, and that's the tool that they use, great. You can send it to them that way.
Yep.
Or if you are experienced and really skilled in one of those things, and there's stuff that you can do there that you can't do in Descript yet, or you're just more comfortable doing it there. Like for me, sound design and scoring, I like to do that in Pro Tools, or mixing. I do that in Pro Tools. But the aspect of just ease of use in Descript, like, let alone I work for Descript, obviously, but my personal opinion, and I do this in my own work, my own everyday work, and it's how I ended up at Descript, is I work with people in that exact workflow where we spend the vast majority of our time in Descript working together in the same project at the same time, which you can't do in any other tool. Having cloud-based syncing quickly and easily, having all of these like really easy to use tools at everyone's fingertips, and most importantly, just text-based editing that is incredibly good, really high quality transcription. Not looking at, if you're in Audition or Premiere or Pro Tools, you're only looking at waveforms these all day.
Right.
And you don't know what was said during that time. You have to listen to it and mark it, or you have to have a separate transcription. Having text-based editing in Descript has changed my life forever, and the people that I work with, their lives forever. And it just opens up your ability to make something if you're not a highly trained, highly experienced video or audio producer. You can
totally,
like we did today, we like recorded or dropped some stuff in,
right,
and we started editing without even thinking about it, just by editing like a doc. So
absolutely. Yes. For what it's worth, when I was doing my podcast project, it was like a limited series. I did 5 episodes. I only used Descript. I did not ever push it out. I'm not an expert at all, but I was able to make something that I was proud of without spending a bunch of money on an audio engineer or a bunch of time learning an Adobe something, because every time I downloaded Adobe, I got scared and I wouldn't learn. So yes, that's my little 2 cents I'm adding in there.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Next question. Kevin, can you show where you can create the folder structures? So back in the drive.
Yeah.
It's a good question.
Well, yeah, there's 2. One is in the team, mine's called Team Drive, but in your Drive workspace, this one here, you can create folders, subfolders, anything that you'd want, like that. So you can see Harmony and I have a folder here. We have an archive. You can create folders within folders, really, really great. But also within a project, you can organize. So step back. when you need to make a single video or a single podcast episode, whatever it is, that's when you make a project. Even though you might have multiple compositions within that project, they're all related to each other ideally. Maybe not in my case right now. But within that project, you can also organize stuff in folders. So I could say these are my video versions. I could create another folder within this project that's my audio, whatever works for you. And you can simply drag and drop this stuff in super easily. I'm just holding Command or Control, depending on Mac or Windows. Or you can shift click a whole list, drop that stuff in, and really organize up your project very easily.
Love it. Yes. Our friend Marcelo calls it digital cleanliness.
I love that.
I love it. Speaking of Marcelo does weekly office hours on our Discord channel. And he's going to host some right after this event. So if you have any additional questions, jump into the Discord. I'm going to throw the QR code up in the corner here. That's like a great resource to be face-to-face with a support team member. Marcelo knows just about everything there is under the sun about Descript, so that's a great resource for you. So he often does those after these events and every Wednesday at 1 p.m. PT. So check that out. Cool. Okay, let's see if I can sneak in a couple more questions here. Kevin, this one is from Doug. If my video that I brought in sounds really choppy because I took out all filler words and converted it to studio sound, can you share why it might sound that way?
Yes. First one is the editing. Editing all filler words might be a little bit too much. Arguably, it's probably too much for any type of media, but that's a personal preference. When you've removed filler words and you use that strikeout feature, ignore, it's really great to go through and unignore the ones that sound choppy or try to clean them up in the timeline if it's possible. So this one.
Learn to swim when they're very young. I know my parents took me to the YMCA.
Great.
That it happened. But not everybody learns when they're...
That second one's a little bit choppy. So I could go in and unignore it.
It happened. But not every...
Or I could go into the timeline and maybe clean up that edit by moving this edit point around. This is like a Descript 201 thing. But essentially, I want to move this edit point so it's not in the middle of one of those waveforms. It's a really great rule of thumb about editing any kind of choppiness. If it sounds choppy, it's probably because you have an edit point in the middle of one of these shapes. Let me make this a little bit bigger. So if you move that around so it's in a lower section.
It happened. But not everybody learns.
Cleans up that edit just a little bit.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Cool. Alrighty. Well, we are at just about time. So I think it's time to do our closing remarks here. This has been such a blast. Thank you all so much for being here. Great crowd today, Kevin.
Yeah.
Thanks, and lots of folks out there. I think we had 400 people live at one point. It's so this is such a fun part of mine and Kevin's job. We love interacting with users in this way. So thank you so much for being here. And I saw some repeat attenders. Love that. Love to see your stuff and keep us updated on how everything is going in the Discord. There's that QR code up there. Scan that and you will join our Discord. That is where our support team members hang out. We do office hours with Marcelo right after this and every Wednesday. We have some feedback polls happening right now. Would love to hear how you enjoyed this event and just in general how you're feeling about Descript. What else? We do events every single week. We switch off between 101s. We do about 2 of those a month, and then those more niche topics. So overdub, how to make interview podcasts, templates, everything under the sun you could want. We probably have done it, But if it's not there, let us know. Let us know what you would like us to cover, because we want to do the events that would be most helpful for you. And last but not least, don't forget, if you are a free user or you're a new user, scan that QR code or use code LIVE30 at checkout and you will get a month of free pro. There's some chatter in the chat about how do I know which tier to use. This would be a great way to sort of suss that out. You get a month of free pro, see how much you're using it, and then that will help you decide between the creator, the pro plan, or maybe even the free plan. So yeah, that should give you a good head start. Kevin, anything else before we log off?
Just a reminder that this is recorded. So
Yes.
literally after this, if you want to revisit something, go back to the YouTube recording, pull it up side by side with Descript, stop and pause it, repeat sections, slow it down, speed it up, and take your time learning some of this stuff if you want to revisit it. It's always going to be there for you to use. So
Love it.
dig in.
Cool. Amazing. Last thing I'll say, we have an event in 2 days on video podcasting, not how to do it in Descript, but why to do it, what it means to add video to your podcast. That's with me and our amazing managing editor and podcaster, Ashley Hamer. I'll send that link in the chat. But would love to see some of you see more of you there. There you go. Awesome. This has been such a blast. Kevin, thank you so much for all that you do.
Thank you.
And I'll see you next time. See you next week or the week after that and the week after that.
See you, everybody.
Cool.
Thanks for joining.
Sayonara.